welcome to my channel. You are watching All Things Aaron. Today we are actually going to go back in time to take a look at some of the locations I went to while I was in Orlando, Florida for Plantcon. Yes, we're still talking about plants. So while at Plantcon, my friends and I decided that not only would we go to the actual conference, the actual event, but we would take a look at what's actually around the city of Orlando. So in the neighborhood that we stayed, which we were downtown, we actually just walked around street to street to see what was there. We did some research beforehand. We weren't just walking around randomly, but we had a mission. We had some spots that we wanted to hit. And then as we were traveling away from this city, going back to Charlotte, we were like, let's hit some spots that we know we would want to visit. So through this trip, we decided to stop at a couple of different locations. These are the clips that I took of each location. So I hope you had fun on this little journey with me, visiting these plant shops. My favorite had to be Ecuagenera. It was massive. There were so many plants. I fell in love with so many new varieties and so many new options. And it really gave me the opportunity to see that there are plants out there that I don't have that I really want. And it just made my wish list grow even more. So what used to be like 50 plants on my wish list is now a good 75. We'll get to that in another video, but I want to thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. We have plant material. There's information about my job hunt. There's also just things about me. Hi, I'm Aaron. So if you enjoy watching this video, trust me, there's more to come. Hit that subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.